So here's me. So I've been in customer success a long time, but before that, I worked at Wonderware, which is the first HMI interface. And I know a few people here that Shannon back there that worked there. That was a pretty cool place. We called it Stain Automation. They got bought by Wonderware because they were a distributor. Awesome job. Flew all over the world, literally fixing stuff, right? Which probably a lot of you guys like as well. When I looked at, I worked at IBM when a company got acquired. It was called Cast Iron. That was a great experience. Informatica, PTC. So I've had some interesting jobs that all are hardware and software. So for the last, I guess, a long time, let's just say, we'll go back here. I've been in SaaS, right? So it's software as a service. I've been doing that. So customer success is all about SaaS, right? So it's basically you have people that are buying software on a subscription, and you want to keep it that way. You want to get them to buy more, right? Renew and buy more. So this customer success problem I always solve with technology. So digital customer success, like how do you literally get the ratio of one customer success manager can handle, we got some feedback back in the back. One customer success manager can handle 10,000 customers, right? So how do you do that, right? So we started thinking, how does all this stuff work? And so when you go down the path, what I've really found out in my years of customer success is everyone hates customer service. Like no matter where you go, you're gonna have a bad experience unless they throw a bunch of people at it. But this is me at the airport. And so I was over here dealing with Frontier. I went to the bag tag place in the kiosk and I tried to print that out. And so literally what happened was it said, print her out of paper. And I tried it again. And then what it said, I think you know, it's like you already printed your bag tag. Right? Oh my God. Right. So then there's literally 3 people that are directing me from the kiosk into this line, and there's no one back there. Right? So you got a big line, you got automation that no one's used there and broken, and then you literally have no one there to help. Right? So it's one person doing this whole entire thing. Right? And so more kiosks are not going to help. Right? Chatbot solutions are not going to help. Right? They got their luggage, they're doing stuff they're trying to buy. Right? And so you start looking at B2C in general, right? Things are broken, real broken. But a fifth of the workforce is in retail and hospitality, like a fifth. And 75% of these people quit. Like this jobs that no one wants. They don't want to get beat up by customers all day. Right? The Alfred and Batman, that's not very common. Right? People take the jobs because they're in slow jobs. And they really hate it. And so when you start looking at this issue, it's a $150 billion business. And so there's kiosks everywhere, right? That everyone ignores. People want to get in line because they're not going to get what they want out of this kiosk pushing thousands, right? And so this really gets people mad, right? So we generated a lot of this with AI, right? So it mounts frustration. We really get going. And so we have the AI grid. And this is pretty exciting. We've done software for a long time. And I did hardware back in the day, right? PTC, Wonderware, and all that. So we thought, let's take these AI agents, which are brand new. No one really knows what they are, right? It's kind of a new thing. And last year, let's put it in a big box, right? And I will show you guys how it's built, kind of some of the I call it the maker lab, like how we make stuff, right? So it's kind of a fun thing, but this AI reader is a pretty exciting thing. So it has facial tracking. So when you walk up to the reader, a camera right here, it knows that someone's walking up to it. That way it's not talking to all the random people talking to the audience, right? It also has listening skills. So we have noise canceling AI microphones, right? So you guys know AI is literally in every single product that you could ever have today. And it actually works pretty good. And so when you look at this reader, you got the agentic AI, right? Which is how do you tell AI what to do? How do you control it? How do you not just ask ChatGPT to fix your email that you're about to send, but how do you literally say, okay, AI, go do this. What's your scenario? And then we took it another level. How do you make it a persona? How do you literally give it like I made this one Trinity, right? So this is like from the Matrix. That's the best one I could kind of put together, right? And then you can also do real people. When we get a couple more beers, I can show you guys. I have a 3D hologram person, like a 3-dimensional robot. So you can literally make any person that you want. We could do Dave right here, And
Nobody wants to say that.
Or when you
I'm
do
in
that,
control.
that's right. You have to say, okay, let's not let's get Dave's explicit permission in writing because impersonation is a big deal, right? So there's a lot of interesting things going on with AI. Right? Some people love it, some people are scared of it, some people hate it, got everything. And so it's quite the interesting mix. So when you start having these life-size agents, this AI reader, also in the conversation, she can reach out to the point of sale, just like your guy at Home Depot that's getting his phone out, looking at inventory where things are. Right? So these readers can have a conversation with customers. They can look up what's happening, right, in real time from that point of sale, from the inventory, and then they can also receive phone calls. Right. And so literally, if you think about your reader, they can be on site, they can have the same voice on the phone, they can be on the website, right? They can be everywhere. And so as a small medium business, your presence now just got 100-fold. Right. And so when we go a little bit deeper, one of the cool features is you can literally transfer that conversation that you're having with that reader to your phone. And then it shows up. And you can keep talking to him or her, whoever the reader is. Right, so you continue that journey, right? And this has been kind of a fun feature because you can talk to that same person that you're talking to, or that same AI talking to along the way. So think about it from a retail perspective. You know, someone comes in your store, they're there because they met the reader on the website. They meet I'd say in person, like a digital human, right? And then they can also meet them on their phone and keep talking to them. Oh, you're in a grocery store? What are you having for dinner tonight? Oh, chicken. Well, how about some broccoli for that? It's on aisle 8. Are you interested in a bottle of wine? Right? A nice white Zinfandel will go with that chicken and broccoli, right? You should maybe go there. And why don't you scan the barcode, walk with me, and take you over to that aisle 8 and get the stuff, right? And so it's kind of an interesting scenario that this stuff, I feel like, just beats signs, right? Because you have kiosks, you go deep in menus, right? And a lot of times there's no one there. Just like the picture I showed earlier. There's people don't want to staff customer service. There's no one there. When you go to a grocery store, it's been real interesting because the only people there are stocking aisles, and those people work for that part of the aisle. Like that's the usual evidence. Yeah, so you're trying to find something, you can't find it. When you ask somebody, they're like, "Hey, this is my area right here, right? I'm this little area right here. That's all I do. I don't know anything else." Once you go up to customer service, then there's no one there because that's the manager that's running around fixing everything. Right, and so it's an interesting world that we're in. And so some examples, we have the receptions, right? So you walk into a building and there's no one there, but the reception's there. And who are you looking for? Me, right? What's going on, right? So, do you have an appointment with Brian? You have the event reader. That's this right here. So it's a hologram. It's very exciting. People like it, and people can go and talk about the event, the wedding. Oh, tell me about the happy bride and groom. Right? So events have been kind of fun for us. Like people come up with all kinds of things they want to know at events. You get the webpage, right? So the little greeter pops up and they can start talking to people, right? And that can kind of seed it because it's full audio conversations. And then you have like the AI greeter at the bank, right? So it's kind of a new realm. Now we start getting into technology. So I got a lot of interesting things technology-wise because this is a tech crowd, right? So when you think about where the greeter is, of course we're in the top right, but when you look at large language models down here, so this is your ChatGPT and your Llama, your Meta, right? That has Llama 3, and then you have like Claude, right? But they're all moving to be agent builders, right? They're like, okay, now we can fix Word documents and we can like tell you what to say and what to write. Now let's go be an agent and let's go and do things, right? When you go up here, like NVIDIA is really awesome at this. And Synthesia is how do you make like true lifelike digital humans? That's exciting too. And so then you get into how do you take digital humans, given goals. That's the path that we're going down. Right? So we're very excited about what we're doing. With bleeding edge. And we got some pretty awesome pilots out there, right? Like Credit Union, Texas. We've been in a couple banks, greeting people. We had an event with them, their Christmas party actually. I think David there, right? Different hotels, like there's a bunch of hotels in McKinney. That's where I'm from. They're like, hey, come help our people know all about McKinney, right? Like help them schedule an event or something. This was AI McKinney. I think a lot of you guys might have come to this. that's the event that I put on, right? And I brought in some other folks, and we've made it pretty big. But we always have this little AI agent there. The problem her, she didn't have a case, and so people stick their finger in there. So we've been learning along the way. We've been close with you guys as we go. HEB, I'm still working on them, so I'm not there yet. But I mean, that's the perfect use case, right? I mean, the grocery store. And we're talking to the crowds too. So it's kind of an interesting scenario. This is really what we want to do with these guys is when the World Cup comes, we want to literally be all around greeting people from other countries, helping them get around our city, which is a big Dallas area, and know all about the World Cup, what games they're playing. Think about it, you really have no way to figure that out except you ask somebody and get an app. So it's kind of an exciting thing. So that's our team, right? We got myself and Jen, Prasad. So we've been doing this for about the last year and a half. We've done other things before, right? And some of us worked together since 1999, right? The first .com. So I thought I'd give you guys a little demo, right? And just kind of show you around a little bit, right? Of kind of how things go. It's like, let me share this screen. Right? So this is our platform, right? And so I made this one Trinity IoT Deck. And on Trinity, you can basically go and you tell her how to greet people that come in, right? So it's pretty straightforward. It's like, hey, what do you say? Welcome to the I have Texas meeting, right? And then you can go down, you can start describing what she does, right? So this is kind of the cool part is instead of just typing in one empty chat box with ChatGPT, you literally describe, I'm going to create this persona. I'm going to give her an image, a face, right? I'm going to like tell everyone like what exactly is she going to do, how's she going to reach people, what does she not do explicitly, right? And then you can even onboard her to a certain job around people in conversation. And so it's you get in here and you say, hey, she loves the high-tech screws, right? Today's event, I need to put happy hour because that's the main reason you guys are all here, right? I found out. But you can go down and give her a scenario. Hey, she's at this event. She loves it. She's an AI matrix reader. Maybe we can go from there. Now, you can do other things. Like we have some pretty cool tech around media. Like you can define these VRM files. If any of you guys are into graphic automation and anime, you can literally define like you can pick ones that are done. If you're advanced, you can make your own. But that's her, right? So you can define who she is. We also have some digital humans now, which is kind of a new thing this last month and a half, which is pretty exciting. I can show you guys that one. It's the literal 3D reader, right? And so when you start picking who they are, what they say, right? You can get them a voice, you can get them different images, and this is the way you start narrowing down who that agent is. Right? So that's the demo. So I'm gonna go back and kind of go into some detail. So this is some stuff. Let me share this down. So we've had some fun with this, right? Like we started with a literal platform to build agents, right? So that's all software that's looking for millions of developers. That's a tough business. But in order to promote it, I got a lot of interest with this. I started bringing these around. You guys, I bring them around, and people are like, "That's really cool. I like the holograms." Right? And so we're getting into this hologram thing. And so the AI and McKinney, we got on the big billboard with kind of a big, exciting moment that we had. Right? And so it's kind of a grassroots thing. So I'll show you guys some people our sound work. Right? This is literally me building the book. Oh, yeah, go ahead and keep it cool down there, making that nice and cool inside. So when you start looking at how this stuff works, like, I mean, luckily I've been in IoT for a long time, right? With the BTC and the Wonderware and all that. Like, you have to really mix up hardware, software, resolutions. You got to build a case. You got to make it so it travels like this thing. You got to make sure that it fits. Like this is all actually red oak. Like how do you configure it for different buildings? And then you got to look at other options. Like China has a case, right? It looks sleek, right? So we have different vendors there. But when you start looking at kind of how this goes, it's all about kind of being a builder, right? And so kind of a fun thing. So that's the fan back there in the back. And so that's the way this works. It's a 3D hologram fan. It's got 4 blades. You can also get bigger ones that have 6 blades. It's got 2,000 LEDs in it. And so it can either, you have some that play videos, but this one literally takes an HDMI output and plays that, right? And so that's the way it syncs up. It's got a fiber optic cable that I've broken twice. But it's kind of a fun scenario when you look at how all this stuff goes, because you got to sync, then you got to sync the real time, the voice. You got to sync the animation. So there's a lot of pieces. We started with the platform, but then my dream was always, hey, let's make it digital units, let's make it bigger, right? So I think we're finally there. Which is pretty fun. So I can go a little bit more like software modification.
Hi there, my name is Betty. I'm here to make sure you have
Early work.
Hey, Betty, I'm here.
Start looking at what's going on. Like this case, I started with just the fan, and everybody wanted to touch it. It was really loud like that. This crazy thing. So I put the 3 sides on. The 2 sides in the front are plexiglass, and it's amazing how sensitive that plexiglass is, even with the chlorine. And then recently, about 2 weeks ago, I put the back on. So it's actually pretty quiet. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. I was at Capital Factory in Austin, and they were like, "Love the thing, but you got to make it quiet." And he gave me the analogy of Steve Jobs, right? And Steve Jobs was like, "Hey, let's make the power supply fanless, right?" So it's called. And you think about some of the things that make a difference. That was one of them. We got to make it hot. So, like, I've also put some insulation on the back. So, it's like a work in progress. I'm not going to show you how to go down. Let's see what this video is.
All right, so I got a green light, and then it started going again.
Okay.
That's like 18 different microphones, right? Got to figure it out, right? I mean, because with all the noise.
Yeah, let's see if she starts talking. Yeah, see, she's not talking either on this one.
He's a warning though.
Well, I think the speaker's not hooked up, but the lips aren't moving.
It's definitely an evolution as you go. So let me go down here now. We're kind of getting ready for our first demo here. What was me? It's still loud because I didn't have a back.
The fan's real wobbly though. I'm not real happy with the quality of it.
The fan,
Yeah.
So when we start thinking about how this stuff works, it's crazy, literally evolution.
Hi, Bryan. Thank you for inviting me over, and we were supposed to take your first prototype and show it, right? So I'm just seeing it here. So you built this by hand. Is that true? Did you build this?
Yeah, we built this last couple of days.
Wow. So you're just sitting and building this whole thing together for the past few days and all by your hand, right? I can see this is the first prototype. Yeah. So I can see that you put this together. But look at this. This is awesome. I have never seen something like this, right? This is the first unit, but this is the first.
So, it's kind of interesting how you start looking at the evolution of this. Ed told me that you guys are all builders here and you're all IoT. So, like software, you have a similar process, right? Hardware, there's a lot to do, right? And now you got to coordinate all that. It makes it quite the thing. Like when I was at the Wonderware, I was in charge of the industrial automation server. Shannon knows that, right? And that was real interesting because now it brought in the enterprise software with all the automation. Like it would literally be a story for the company, right? And so there's a lot of interesting things that you do, but when you start getting in this whole mix, it's kind of fun because you just tinker. You literally tinker all that. And then right. Yeah, go for it.
So I understand the surround, right? And you have a fan blade that's taking HDMI input, really, and projecting, right? The LEDs are projecting on another piece of glass, right? They go inside. Is that how it's working?
I think that's just a reflection. So the holograms they work different ways. So when I put the back one on, the reflection got better. So you're right on that. There's different ways to do reflection. Like in the horror movies, they have a 45-degree angle, and the TV projects up. So we looked at that. We built some of those. This is kind of a new thing. These 3D fans, I think they're really cool. The problem there is you can't get one that accepts HDMI in America for less than $10,000. So a little side thing that I'm working on is I have an Amazon store to go resell that stuff I get from clients. Of course, that all got blown out last week with tariffs. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, the holograms are kind of cool and they're fun. They also have a hologram box. Those things are literally 10 grand too. They use that same principle of the 1045 degree.
So you do need to project the light onto the surface, right?
No, it does it by itself. So I didn't have a case before and it still works. So this hologram fan, it's 4 blades and there's 2,000 LEDs.
So it's just on the fan plates, right? The LED.
Yeah, LED just on the fan. Yeah.
Be cool. If one were done, they'd be. I'm curious to see like how it.
Yeah. We'll turn it off.
Yeah, I'm just looking at what you're
Yeah. I like to say that she hides from the photo.
I had a thought on noise.
Yeah, go for it.
But if you created value, the noise is from the air. Reduce the ambient air pressure inside.
That would probably reduce wear and tear on the entire device. Yeah, that's a great idea. Man. So when I put the back on, I'll give you the story. When I put the back on, all of a sudden these wires right here, right? Like I separate the top and the bottom. So the wires go in so that they have a fiber optic little device, and then you can even daisy chain. Like you can get multiple fans. You can make it tall, or you can get like a 4x10 grid. So like these can literally be as big and tall as you want. Like the Sphere in Las Vegas, they're just playing videos, but they literally have a 50-foot high hologram, and they're all just wireframe. So it looks really cool. So there you can definitely go crazy like that. You can see a little bit of flicker, the fan blades. Like when I first got it, I turned it on, and the fan came on, hitting it, right, bent my blade. So I had to call and hey, send me some blade. So it's been kind of a fun experience as we go. And so this is us. Yeah. So we also have an HD screen. So there's the 8 right here in the front. Who invited me to the meeting? Let me go through Ed's purview to make sure I was good enough.
The screening process.
Yeah, the screening process. So hopefully it's good enough to be invited back. Here's our device. It's the first one. Hanging out. I got a video over there. See what's going on.
Hi there, I'm Carol, your friendly AI greeter at the MEDC. So tell me, are you a startup, a corporate, or an investor? I'm here to make sure you have a great experience.
Oh, I'm just looking for the restroom. You know where it is?
Sure, of course. The restrooms are on the first floor. Just go straight ahead and take a look.
So when you think about all the places they can go, and there's literally no one there at the reception desk. I mean, honestly, when I walked in here yesterday and today, the whole hotel was empty. There was no one there. I had to go back, hey, is anybody there? And that's a problem everywhere, right? Because it's hard to get frontline workers, right? No one wants to do it. So the managers have to do that, right? So now you can have a greeter at every place to always greet people, figure out what's going on. They can check availability or if there's appointments that somebody had, right? So I think the AI reception is a pretty cool idea.
Hi there, I'm Carol, your friendly.
Now, I want to get more techie on you guys. This is how it works, right? So you literally, love that camera, by the way, follow me around. So what you have is our device, right? So that's this box right here, right? And you have some power on that device. Like literally, I got a computer in there and it's got the NVIDIA, the 3090 card on there because it requires the GPU to do all the processing for the animation or for the real people, right? So requires some pretty heaped up power. When you're in a private network, so you just go to the retail store, you're going to connect either on their VPN or whatever, but you got to connect to the point of sale, inventory, that kind of stuff. So that way, all that's self-contained. But we got a lot of stuff going on over here, right? And we have like the real-time voice, right? That's one server. The real-time web, that's another server, whole another provider, right? We got Google Cloud. We got a lot of stuff there because they literally gave us $500,000 in free compute. So that's why we like them. We got a lot of stuff over there. And then we got the video cloud. So when this agent's running, I actually raised the red flag last week. I'm like, dude, we got to have like fast internet. And it's got to be a hard line. So this white cable that goes down there, you guys probably saw it by the pizza. It goes all the way around to the back, right? That's Ed's solution, which is awesome. The 100-foot cable to plug into the direct internet. Otherwise, you get massive delays. You get things just flat out not working because of all this activity going on, right? And so when you're sitting at your house with the gigabit internet, like probably most of you guys have, and I have for sure, right? There's a lot going on. Yeah, question.
Where are you using your video cloud? I can't see exactly.
Oh, the video cloud. That's it's another piece of Google, right? Using that, and we're switching over to the NVIDIA digital unit, right? So
Which digital do you call them?
the NVIDIA.
Oh,
Yeah.
Which part? Okay, anyway.
We're not there yet, but we're switching over to that. Okay. Yeah. So it's quite a bit. So let me show you what we're working on right now, which I think will really help. Right. This is the new plan. I'm giving you guys a new plan that we're already working on, but you still have your same device. But somebody wants to come in. You still have your same device. You still can be in a private network, but you have to move literally all that stuff over here. Right. That's a big deal. And so now all of a sudden the GPU and the server on the device has to get really big. So there's this new NVIDIA one called Digit. It's pretty awesome. I went to CES and I was totally enthralled with that whole thing. But you have to have literally a supercomputer to move over because of all this stuff going on. And so we have to rethink things. Like we're looking at a lot of new stuff, let's just say. And we're putting together pilots and POCs. And now we got the device working. We're like, let's keep it working. We got a product, right? Now let's go and let's work on the next thing, right? So now we move over and start moving everything over. So it just requires a lot of compute, but in this framework, we'll still be able to connect to other systems in the private network. And that's the little computer. Because, this device, it's our first prototype. People don't want something that big, I don't think. And they're stored unless it's integrated. So like I see like every bank, every retail place, they're going to want a custom box. But we also have these kiosks. So I think most businesses, or not most, but a lot have kiosks, which is the big HD screens. And that's kind of an exciting thing because of these, like this right here. Because these HD screens now, all they have is this little tiny Android disaster, and it barely plays an image, right? And so the cool thing about the digits, and actually the computer we have in the back of this one, is they're literally that big, right? And they have like super GPU power. Because if you don't have a GPU, you can't run any AI, literally. And so we have to not only move the video processing, so that's why we're moving to NVIDIA for your question back there, right? But we also have to move the LLM there. So even though it's all free to us on Google Cloud, we have to have a server that's powerful enough to run like a Llama 3. I don't know. Somebody just told me I could get a local DeepSeek, which was interesting. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but if you get a local one,
Same difference as Llama.
what's that?
Same difference as Llama.
Same as Llama. They probably copy Llama if I know China. So that's how it works. But yeah, so there's ways to do local. So all this, the cool thing about being a maker, like I think all you guys are, and me as well, right, is like you got to find the latest thing and jump on it. And so that way it'll enable these things. Because you literally couldn't have done this a year ago, right? I mean, the real-time human, the only one that was doing it a year ago was literally NVIDIA, right? I mean, that was it. And they were priced out of the ballpark. So now now that they're excited that they're getting recognized as created AI or whatever they say, right? They got some pretty cool stuff. So this has been kind of a fun scenario as far as building things, right? And so that's my content. We'll talk to the agent. But you guys got any questions that we go through? I can show you some more. Yeah.
Security, cybersecurity. So the first thing you walk up, there's an LLM behind this person.
There will be.
There will be, right? So no, those LLMs can do odd things, right? A lot of security does. Have you thought about red teaming your LLM? Because you're supposed to joke.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody already tried penetration testing. Stuck their finger in a fan.
I've had lots of interesting issues.
Yeah. I think that people will want to. I did think for technicians once, a chatbot, and all they wanted to do was to see if they could get the chatbot to, go off the script.
That happens a lot. So there's a lot of issues. I would say 2 years ago it got really bad, where Like literally, well, even character AI, right? Told a kid to commit suicide. So you go first, right? I mean, there's some really big problems out there. So what we did with our platform first was we made it responsible. So in that scripting I showed you guys, you literally tell it what it can and can't do. And so we've been evolving, like beginning this time last year, Google Gemini was so bad, even though we had it for free, we didn't use it. Like it literally was terrible. And ChatGPT was great, right? And so then this summer, last summer, Google Gemini got to be one of the better LLMs, and they go back and forth, right? They trade off. But it's real interesting how this stuff is definitely a race between those guys. So we're trying to use the latest one. So the hallucinations aren't as bad now because all the big boys went and fixed it, right? They built it in. But it's hard to customize. You can only do it with a Gen platform. You have to customize who this character is. You got to tell it, you got to onboard it like an employee. Like literally, we load the whole employee handbook up. We're like, all right, well, here's your handbook. You're now onboarded, right? And then we go through, you can load up PDFs, you can load all that stuff up, and you tell it who it is, what it does, what its job is, and then you have to accomplish these things for that customer, otherwise it's a fail, right? And you log all that stuff. So I think it's gotten a lot better. But yeah, a year ago, we had to work on that really hard. And this anime, guys like it, but most working women don't like it. My daughter loves animation; it's the greatest thing ever. So there's interesting things that people come up with, right? That either raise or lower the option of all this stuff. So then it's an interesting world to see what happens. But when you talk to her, so I programmed this Trinity. I was thinking Matrix, IoT, and kind of gave her some things to say. So I can come back here. We have the camera, so I'm looking at the camera. Right, I think she recognized me. She'll start talking.
Hello. What brings you to the IoT Texas meeting? I'm sure we can get you where you need to be.
And we're here and we're trying to figure out where the beer is.
You're in luck. It's a thirsty crowd here at the IoT Texas meeting. Head towards the back of the room.
You guys.
You can't miss the beer. It's right next to the sponsors, James Brown and Asa. They are a great group of folks.
Hey, tell me a little bit more about this group, IoT Texas, like Ed Hightower. Tell me about that guy. I actually didn't program this in.
The IoT Texas group. It's a lively bunch, constantly trying to find new ways to integrate technology into everyday life. A lot of folks here are pretty passionate about making the Internet of Things, actually useful. We're talking everything from smart homes to industrial automation. If you're looking for information about high towers, it's a great place to network the experts. They might even have a story about high tower and their journey.
So it's kind of cool because you can literally describe the person, how she looks, how she acts. I could tell her what to say. I could say, hey, if someone asks this question, say something else. But the LLM, back to your point, have gotten really good. Like at this time last year, the only one that was decent was ChatGPT, and it was okay, and people made a big deal out of hallucinations. Gemini could barely crank out a sentence, right? I mean, we used that Mistral, the one from France, which was honestly horrible, but it was great, right? I mean, it was really bad. And so then the summer came up, and everything got a lot better. And then they do release stuff. Yeah.
So based on your question about Ed, who's a high tower, I'm thinking you're not doing RAG, right? You just used the model. This LLM did not go out and look up Ed high tower on the internet.
I didn't do RAG, but we can. So I didn't do it for a year. I was going to the website.
Just increases your feedback security. When you do the RAG, it increases the ability for someone to misuse it.
Yeah, no, we do. So basically in the demo, I just didn't do it for this meeting. If I go, this image. You're right. So the RAG,
It's one with the internet.
yeah. There are. So when I go on her, so I can go and I can add documents. So I can add a specific website, or I can add PDF files. Right. So that's exactly how it works. And I think the thinking now is that the content size has gotten so big like you can literally fill it up with, I don't know, 1,000 pages of text now in the context of an LLM session, that it makes all the difference. The RAG was when context size was 8,000 characters. Yeah, that was last year. That was literally this time last year. We had to really figure out, like, there was a lot of things going on. And we're trying to figure out, like, okay, well, how do we not tell it too much about who it is before it breaks, right? Or how do we, shut them in? It's like, there's been a lot of challenges, right? And so now I think it's literally, I don't know, 100,000. And so we have the RAG, but I think the RAG is good for being specific documents. I think what you're saying.
Right.
So you want to load up the onboarding document for your company, for that frontline employee, load it up,
I
right?
heard the term CAG for cash instead of RAG. So there's a thing for CAG as well. Cash is all you need. Maybe you can play on the attention is all you need.
No, it's going,
What
man.
you're saying, what people are doing now, because exactly what it's a bunch of the people. So,
Yeah, it's. I mean, things change literally every month. Like, and I think what we'll start seeing more of, and actually where we are, is like, no one talks about it, but like developers. I mean, you can literally get using GitHub as tools, they can write code, right? And they've been doing it for a couple of years, but it's getting really good. So now you only need architects, right? Get ChatGPT or anybody to write code for you. So it's been a real interesting thing. What we're targeting is frontline workers. Like if you go to Home Depot, right? And so Home Depot, the one in McKinney at least, they don't have regular checkouts anymore. They literally have 10 kiosks, right? And then they have 4 people that are helping the people at the kiosk when things go wrong, right? So our vision is, dude, you can have one of these agents, right? Lifesize readers, answering any questions, and kiosk, and literally help out, right? And because those 4 people that are at Home Depot, they don't want that job. They're like, I want to go back and go help somebody else. I don't want to help them with this system, right? I want to literally go do something else, right? So that's what we found. People that are on the front line, most of the time, they're not loving it. If they are loving it, let them keep loving it. But most of the stuff monotonous, and the reader is 100% on, right? Good attitude all the time. Yeah. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to flag it for you.
He was pointing at you from behind.
Yeah, you're over here. What do you think in terms of the ROI? Is that pretty much like a salary of in terms of what you're charging?
Well, it's an interesting thing. So, I mean, we're just now trying to get out of prototype stage, right? So, like, I just gave a company, I'm like, hey, well, you guys can have this for 3 months. It'll be on a screen behind a reception desk. And I'm like, after 3 months, if you have value, it's $500 a month. If not, you can go pay $3,000 for someone to sit there all day. So it's like, that's the conversation we're having. I'm working on the HEB because they have this wine bar. This pro, they even have automated dispensaries, but they need someone there to control. And that person is only there on HEB happy hours, right? Like you go to HEB, I love that store actually, really cool. But you have to go to whenever they'll let you test wine only like once a week, right? So you could literally have a reader, people can go anytime and card them and do all that stuff. So it's a real interesting thing. So the value prop, and I get advice on this, which I'm trying to figure out what to do. Like you can have the readers upsell stuff because they're product experts. They know all about what's going on in store. They can, why don't you get this, like that wine and that chicken. Or you can look at it from a kind of the frontline people replacing those people. Like you went from 8 people at checkout stations down to 4 that are literally watching the technology not work and fixing it. You could go down to 0 there. And those people could go actually help people in the aisles. Because that's another problem. So I guess I'm a maker. I think a lot of you guys are too. When you go to Home Depot, there's no one there to help. And they even have a button. They're like, help me. And you push the button. Most of the time it's broken. It used to work. It's broken. And then you go find someone like, they're like, this is not my section, but let me see if I can help you. And then you got to explain all the stuff to this person that's, they're from the plumbing section, you're electrical. Right? So, I mean, again, I do all this stuff all the time. And I get frustrated. I'll figure it out myself. Right? Or I'll go online and look something up real quick. But when you start looking at, for some reason, Home Depot used to have a person in every aisle. Now they don't. Right? And so I think if they had a reader, it would change the game for them. Right? It would make a lot of difference. Good question.
What do you think in terms of distribution? Licensed territories of licensed vertical markets. You sell to consumer.
I like that. I like the way you're thinking, right? We're going big. So yeah, territory and all this stuff. I've worked with some distributors. That was the Dana Automation and the manufacturer of Boston. It's kind of cool. You know, we're just, I mean, we're literally just we're a startup. We're doing pilots. So we're trying to find partners to add us in. So you're getting the non-technical area. But like I work with the AI Connects, if you guys heard of them. They're like, dude, we can bring you into some, yeah, they said on. Yeah. And I talked to the other guys, the AI for S&P. So I'm speaking there in a couple weeks on the 18th. And we're like, okay, whenever you sell your product and you bring us in. So that's how we're doing it. You know, I think, you know, if we can get funding, then we can literally go out and have a partner manager that can set up territories. But right now, we're mainly focused in on Dallas because this thing is like me in my Suburban. I get my kid to help me load it sometimes. I'm going to buy someone a beer here to help me unload it, put it back in the Suburban. But yeah, I mean, we're kind of excited about it. We're trying to get stability and start life is fun, right? I mean, you build everything, you put it out there. We got some pretty cool pilots. And so the World Cup's next year already, 2026, right? So that's one of our big asks is, hey, you know, let's get some funding and we can go get 100 units and 100 stores all around there and really support the World Cup. So if you guys, anybody knows anyone that works there, that's one of our big places that we're trying to figure out.
Brian, John's got a question.
Yeah.
John? I'm going to be the parent, right?
Yeah, the first one.
Not the first one. I think you're going to sell it because companies are buying automated phone systems, and this is basically the video version of that.
Yeah.
And how do I say this? I hate them. And I hate this too. Although it's very cool technology. Because, like, if I'm looking for somebody to help me, I'm already past all the answers that those systems can give me. And I don't have the patience for the flow of questions they go through. I want to be able to interrupt that thing and go directly to my question and then have it come back to me with an answer.
So I've been in that world a lot.
And I relate to your thing in the hardware store aisle because I run into that all the time. I'm an electrical engineer. And when I'm in Lowe's looking for stuff, it's because I'm designing in my head as I'm walking through the store. And when a plumber comes up to me in the electrical section and asks if they can help, I'm like, no.
You're not going to help.
You will do.
So I've spent a lot of time pondering this as well. Right? Because like I've done an IVR before in a past life. Like, I mean, I've been in customer success for literally 15 years.
Yeah.
I've tried to automate emails that are smart based on issues. Like there's 1,000 things, right, that can happen. And so what you would have to do was be extremely, my word is pedantic, to make sure that you and your team program all those rules with anything that could possibly happen.
But that's the thing. You can't program.
You can't do it. So that's the world of AI. So that's, yeah, but that's where we are now. So you mentioned the RAG, right? So the AI model, it's literally built on billions of data points. And then you tune it. That's where the agentic AI comes in. You tune it to be who you want it to be. So now you start giving it a certain biases over your store, things you have to offer, and what you help on, right? And then that goes in there. That's when you mentioned the RAG. The RAG is literally you take documents and store them so it can go deeper and go find out more about the product or how they work, right? And so like you're not hearing about it a lot, but like some of these, I actually think the whole outsource business is going down for customer service. And I've worked with a lot of guys, they're great guys. But right now, you get someone, their first barrier is language, right? And then they get into, let me look that up. And they're literally reading the manual, trying to figure it out, right? And so AI has already read the manual, already knows what the problem is, has good communication skills, can mitigate, because it's not just solving a problem, it's literally solving the emotional problem, just like what you're saying. So all these things have come to light literally in the last 2 years, right? And in the last year, or actually 6 months, we're talking about agentic AI, messaging, workflows, and all that stuff. That's just kind of a fancy way to see now I can customize that AI to do for my business, for my store, for my, right? So it's a pretty neat thing. It's still new. But that's where we're going. So you're not going to have press 1 for this, press 2, oh my God, right? And you're not going to have the guy from the aisle over at Home Depot helping you that has no idea about the plumbing to just bug you because he has to. He's covering 4 apartments. The AI is literally helping people, and there's you'll have to see for yourself, I think, but it's definitely come to life.
Well, I like the vision, and I hope it gets there.
Well, thanks, man. We'll get to some stories, man. That's it. Yeah, I think we have one back there first.
Yeah. So, I've noticed one of the big things about this, and I don't think it's a bad idea at all. I'm also with that. There's a point where I'm not going to be able to talk to that. I use AI in my day-to-day programmer. I use as well. And you consider the more supplemental side of that, right? So when you look at one of the nice things about when you call into phone services, I don't know about you guys. First thing I say is operator. I say operator as loudly as possible. I'm trying to learn different languages just to say operator over and over again. That said, I mean, if you do have something that has access to a library of knowledge, there is a point, and they can also get, oftentimes when I say operator loudly, they'll say, can I get a few bits of information about why you're calling so I can probably call properly, right? But at that point, it's almost a frontier, right? You have this for the people who want to try it, right? Yeah. And then it starts becoming successful. There you go. That's supplemental in that case. I don't know about the future of it all being that, due to the various use cases you say, right? It's the idea of there's certain things that a person can do that they, I think, right? It's like, I know this is the rules.
Well, there's a very quick trigger on transferring, right? So we program that, and hey, whenever someone asks for more help, hey, let me call someone. Let me schedule an appointment. We did a lot of that last year. Hey, you want to talk to Bill? Here's his calendar link, or whatever. Like we would give that stuff up. So you're spot on. And yeah, it's not going to be like tomorrow all of a sudden everyone's going to. I mean, it's going to be like one. And people will try it out. Kind of like the kiosk. Yeah. You have one kiosk, and then people avoided it, and they started checking it out. And I don't think they ever got popular, but now like there's so many kiosks, and they have to have people now to make sure the kiosk works and help people check in and barcodes. I mean, it's honestly, it's like talk about Home Depot, right? I mean, some wood is sold by the foot, some with an 8-foot link, right? So like, you got to go figure it out. Is barcode on there? Do you have to get the book out, figure out whatever? All the screws are definitely. Sometimes they have codes on the top, right? If you get screws or bolts, I got bolts for that, right? You got to mark it up yourself. So I think there's a lot of ways you can help. Maybe some of it's beyond it, but yeah, I mean, I feel like the alternative is no one there. Like when you go into this, let me go back to this earlier. I love the questions. So when I go into here, this instead, yeah. This is probably my favorite. This kind of helped me make my own resolution, right? Like when I look at these customer experiences, there's nobody there. People prioritize all the money on marketing. And honestly, if you're going to liquor store, you're going to get something, you really don't care what's on the big thing because you're trying to get the thing you get, right? Travel and leisure. No one there, right? Concierge. I was talking to that hotel in McKinney, the flour mill, and they're going to go live here in I think about 1.5 to 2 years. But he's like, yeah, man, we don't want to have to staff a concierge desk, right? Right? And because people go there, once every 2 hours, especially on, unless it's busy. But you can literally handle that stuff. And when you start thinking about the opportunities, like Burger King, they just literally closed down for 2 weeks. They installed 3 kiosks. No one mind me, I was very idiot there. They put 3 kiosks in, and they left the desk. And I sat there in video for about 10 minutes. I was eating my Whopper, right? Not a single person stopped at that kiosk. They went right to the lady that didn't speak English. And they were ordering stuff, right? They would rather talk to somebody, right? I mean, that's the way things are going. So I see this as people are going to recognize it, so we want to be there when they do, right? And yeah, question.
So I think just getting people to just let us do that, you go to the real person who then talks to the real person. I had this experience like recently. I went to the grocery store. I went to the grocery store. Which of these fishes is best fish? Is best for fish tacos? He turned around and asked somebody else, and then I started having a conversation with them. That kiosk is there.
Yeah.
When you're not knowledgeable, a real person talks to the kiosk, you're just going to swing and start with.
So I agree with that. I was talking to Sam, our buddy, this guy's saying something, and I was like, "There's a new McDonald's in Fort Worth that is personless, like not a single person's there." And then literally, you go on your app, or you go to the kiosk, you order your food, right? And then you go to the counter, and this conveyor belt literally pushes it out. So I'm gonna go there and get some video, and I'm like, "What does it need? It needs somebody there telling people what's going on. It just needs a face." So this is, if anybody knows someone at McDonald's corporate, like, let me know, right? Because I mean, you put a face in there, just has to know what's going on, right? Literally, kind of assist. I think that's an awesome use case. So I'm super excited about that. So I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, you have any question? Yeah.
So I think the integrating RAG in there to have the test very strange. What I think it's very good, but we're talking about placing kiosks or something. It's much more difficult to integrate these chatbots and to use digital systems. So, are you thinking of it kind of reading the manual of the kiosk and telling them, okay, press this button, that button, or are you talking about, I want to buy a Whopper, okay, it's about 50, you swipe the card and get this process.
So before McDonald's did the full automation last year, they had a whole data science team, even before alone, right? And they had the drive-through at a couple of McDonald's, and they were doing like ice cream cones topped with bacon, and they were doing like 200 chicken nuggets. And you know, we're all technical here. We're like, okay, well, there was wind noise, and you just didn't hear it, but it should at least the ice cream thing. It should at least match up to his inventory. Like, what do you offer? And what's the stuff, right? And that's actually things Dave and I talked about, right? It's like, you know, you want to bring up what's the food that's going to go bad. Like that fry has been sitting there for an hour. Like, let's offer them the large fry so that way they'll have it, right? So it's an interesting thing that you can do. So it's really, it's an interesting world. I think what we just talked about is someone that's helping them do things seems to be helpful. Like we literally made a pizza app, working with Domino's, right? And it was like in their lab or whatever, but on the Domino's website, like you pop up an agent, and the agent can literally control the form. So you're on your ordering the Domino's pizza app, like my first one, let me add to my cart, right? I'm in my next one, that's my cart. We had an agent that would pop up and say, what kind of pizza you like? And they would literally fill out the existing website, right? So that seemed to be interesting. So we've been through a lot of different, it's a good word, annihilation, but you know, so you're right. It's trying to figure out that product market fit. So you got to go from full to useful, and that's kind of where we're at, right? We're starting up and we're trying to figure it all out, but we're having some fun doing it. We want to make sure that we stay relevant. Like this animation, some people hate it, right? They're like, I don't like animated. Like I was at a school 2 days ago, and they want to do a hackathon, and I had a librarian innovate, and they're like, take that off right now. So I had to change it to a real person, which they were cool with. But so, you know, it's hard to figure out how all this stuff goes. Like my Christmas, I had a Christmas elf that was, it's on camera, really good looking, right? People are like, wow, the guys loved it, but the ladies were offended, right? And so, you know, I'm trying to balance it all out. You know, just like the hallucination, right? You gotta literally come up with what do you not say? So we figured out building a persona of how it should be, let you be extra safe and things like that. And then the LLMs in the background, they're always improving. Like, I mean, Google, they almost lost their entire AI practice about a year and a half ago because they had a Nazi that was a person of color in some of the images they created, and it really went big time. Like, and so what they were doing, they overcompensated. They tried to be less right? And then that offends someone else. So it's a real interesting world we're living in. That we feel like if we just educate more, like, hey, you can literally make it do whatever you want. It's not a superpowered brain. It's just a pile of knowledge, right? So you got to make its own that be like where it lives for that.
I apologize, this is not my area of specialty, but hearing some of the concerns that were raised, and led to, have maybe have thought, I'm not sure. Sure. Have you ever thought of maybe the metacognition layer is professional development? So basically capture the unbounded question space and kind of direct the user back to the variable that agent has knowledge. I haven't really made up a trying to be with this type of system, or it seems like that could be a good solve.
If I heard you right, some things we've tried is we had a list of, so we responsible AI, we had a list of all the questions they offered, like all the things to be responsible, right? Because they have a whole framework, like people now creating careers around responsible AI, all these different things. And so we've done that. We had a really big customer, HPE, right? And they're like, dude, this thing cannot say anything wrong ever. Okay, right? So we went down, we got those. It might be, is that what you're talking about? It's like a list of all the questions not to say and how to address them.
I worked on that. That's actually built. It captures unbounded, infinite space, and limits the executions just with the programs. It's a great way for engineers. Basically, every question that comes in gets tested against the framework to see if it's a valid question first, and then directs it going into the RAG and work.
Yeah.
Programming methodology might build for metacognition layer than actual writing scripts. Makes sense?
Yeah, that was, I think that's relevant because you wanted to follow the rules, right? And so that's where we have that responsible layer, which works pretty good in combination with LLM, gets better. And they've gotten really good now, and they're not controversial, let's just say, right? That's been changed by the industry. So like I worked at Southwest Airlines a long time ago, right? And it's kind of fun because I was a developer and we were creating their new reservation system, and they were going to convert it to web-based, right, from the old mainframe. And so they used all of the latest things, the Java EJB and all that. I mean, it was all, they had the queuing, they connected with Sabre. They had literally a 100-person team of consultants that they were paying, I don't know how much, millions of dollars, right? And this is real exciting because I got on the team. I'm like, all right, what do you need? They're like, the problem is training. They're like, we need to train the flight attendants and the people at the desk to be able to go faster, because with the old mainframe, you guys might know how these work, is they would learn the keystrokes because the screens are too slow. So they would like type, and then they would wait for the screen to catch up. And they type, right? And so even though this new system was top line, best ever, they didn't want to learn it. And they'd worked all the stuff around and clicks and everything. So then my job was, okay, you need to make the web screen look exactly like the old mainframe screen, right? And you actually have to literally queue each mouse button. All right, so I learned a big lesson there because I had to make buffers and everything, and literally, we made it so it works. So the training issue was off the table, but then they killed the project anyway. They literally killed it, right? I mean, the whole thing's done. All right, you got 2 weeks, wrap this thing up, and it's out, right? And so, Southwest is did anybody work there or work there before? We like to say bad. No, it's actually a fantastic place. One thing that's really cool about them is Halloween. All the departments literally spend 2 or 3 weeks making haunted houses, but they're like friendly haunted houses. And then they have family day on Halloween where people come in and there's our pirate ships, and it's insane. But Southwest is a pretty cool place. So I started to get to know some people. There was this little group of guys that you could tell were really smart. They were around drinking their coffee. They come in at 10, leave at 2. They had the pocket protectors, right? These are the guys that made the first mainframe system. And I started talking to these guys, and they're like, yeah, man, they tried to replace that thing 3 times. Right? They did C++ and then Java, right? And they're like, we're cool, man. They're keeping us here. Like, they were all making $500,000 a year. This is a long time ago. because there's like 4 of them made that first system. So I'm starting to forget where my point was, but you know, people don't always like the shiny thing, right? So we've got to solve the business problem, and that's where I think, you know, you're coming back there. I think things are getting automated no matter what. That's what IoT is all about. We're automating stuff, right? And you know, you want people to have the coolest job, the ones that make them happy, right? And so you got to figure out, where does an AI agent fit in that mix? Or does it help the customer? Does it talk to the customer like a human? Does it assist? Right? And that's what we're trying to figure out. So that's why I have so many use cases. Like the receptionist seems like a good one, right? The grocery store seems pretty cool. The winery, because it can literally tell you how to pair food and wine from the winemaker in a second, right? Where the wine person has to go look it up, or they have to know from working there 20 years, right? So it's a real interesting space. And you know, when you start looking at the deployment, so we got these holograms. I'm looking at daisy chain ones. We have the HD screen. The iPad actually works really good. It's been real interesting, right? Every time I go in with something, somebody's like, I think I like that other one better. Or, you know, they're like, oh, I really like this, right? So it's been real interesting how it all worked out. Yeah.
While you're talking about holograms, are there, do you know of any like emerging tech where you can project a 3-dimensional hologram using the pin?
Yeah, I'm you know what? I'm gonna show you guys. We got how much time?
You got 5 minutes or so.
Yeah. Well, I'll open this thing up, right? So we got the computer, where I had to get that so I can fit the 3090 in there. But if I go, let's do it. Right, so if we kill her,
Gary, can you point your camera there?
yeah, don't steal too much. So I made different codes for the different agents because we had this other one. So I'm gonna show you.
Yeah, I'm hypnotized. Whatever you want.
Austin Powers. This guy's pretty cool. I was a little nervous on me.
Never mind.
That's more hologrammy. And it actually talks to you. So let me go activate the face recognition here. Right, so he comes up.
Team Texas meeting today. Are you interested in Internet of Things? Or are you looking for something in particular? Hey, what brings you to the IoT Texas meeting today? Are you interested in Internet of Things? Hey, what brings you to the IoT Texas meeting today?
So this is the
Are you
same
interested in
agent,
Internet
but I
of
put a new
Things?
face on.
Or are you looking for something in particular? Or are you looking for something in
And we
particular?
only had 20 megabit, and we had a big discussion of should we even bring it? But yeah, we got to plug in. So it's pretty good. Yeah, I'm excited to be here at IoT Texas. Tell me a little bit about the group. Not put a few things about kind of who it is.
You're in the right place then. The IoT Texas
So that's
group
the
is
same
all
boy,
about
that's the
making the
same
Internet of
agent
Things.
bill. We just put a different face on it.
IoT work for people.
So we made it on the
It's a very
spreadsheet. I
diverse
can
group.
get different URLs.
We've got techies, developers, business
assigned to
people,
their account.
and even artists.
So the thing
Everyone's
where you can
excited
take, like,
about the
someone's face,
possibilities of
you
connecting
just
the
take a bunch
physical
of different
world
pictures and
with
letting
the
that.
digital.
So let's say I wanted
We have a lot of fun
a
too.
avatar of myself.
There's always something going on.
Yellow
What are
my
you
son.
interested in learning about?
You can make it, Dave.
So they put it just only on top of that structure then? Is that how?
Yeah,
it works?
Can you repeat what David just asked? Because the rest of it was overwhelmed by
Oh,
the
don't say
speaker.
anything about yelling at my son. He might watch.
Okay, very good.
So we can take images, and you need like 4 or 5, right? Of a person. And then we take those images and we run through a process to create the mouth, the nose, the eye movements. So you have basic movements and you have talking, right? And so then when you saw it through the network lag, I mean, again, the network's terrible here, but I got 20. So you saw it kind of building, right? It was at the bottom. So we have a video that plays of just movements until the camera detects the face. And then it turns the microphone on and loads up the agent. Right? And so you can have a day, you can have an edge. But I'm real leery about that because impersonation is a really big thing. Yeah. So I usually don't do that unless I make them write it down. Okay. Send me a picture of you from you, right? Tell me that you want me to use it. Tell me that you're not going to hold me liable. I get the whole thing. Right? So that's why we use all the different you know, the animations are kind of fun. They're easy. I found this one, the challenge I had with this was getting a face that had enough eyes, nose, and mouth so it actually worked, right? Because some of the three-dimensional walls, so you know, there's a lot of things you got to do. Like I probably went for 5 different ones. Like, all right, that one worked.
So instead of just a flat, clear screen, you need a human mold, right? You can put a coat on or a sweater or something, and that's like a curtain behind that blocks any projection of the fan outside of that space. And then it looks like the person standing there on the counter talking.
Oh, like a something behind it.
Turns into open, like when you're looking at a person. People want a human connection, and if a robot would, you know, shake your hand or, you know, do something, I think that's why one reason that people go to the counter instead of going to the kiosk. They'd much rather deal with it.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so the problem is companies are cutting humans.
I know.
And they're putting in kiosks instead of. Yeah, I agree.
Like the mannequin, but with a digital head.
With a clear head, and so that runs through instead, right?
Yeah.
It fills the clear head.
So you can hire these, right? They can make a tax-paying citizen. Like, have you guys ever heard of the Isle of Man, right? I mean, one of our advisors is there. He's like, dude, we can make an AI a tax-paying citizen, right? Because tax laws are lenient. So there's a lot of things we can do. But you know, you want people to have good jobs where they're happy and they're making a difference. But the problem is, you start prioritizing only the top customer fit this person, right? I mean, there's a lot of that you guys probably all know in business that you got to figure out. So then top customers are these people, everyone else gets AI, right? And retail, you know, you have AI in the sections where no one ever goes with the low budget stuff, and then maybe in the more expensive area, like the luxury retail area, they got the real person. So I'm totally with you, and it's I think we're trying to fill that gap where you don't have anybody anyway, right? Or you've already placed them on the kiosk. So this would be a lot better experience for the person. And yeah, I like what you're saying, right? We could do. I mean, it's there's a lot of great things.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like there's holograms that just come up from the bottom, right? Like a heads-up display on glass. I think you're talking about. I mean, yeah. So this is our first. Well, this is version 3.89. It's 389 of this device. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff we can do. So let's keep bringing ideas, man.
Just like you know, a guidance counselor, basically, you're going to be most likely be a kiosk.
You know, my kids are like, dude, that counselor is so mean, and they really care. I mean, it's like, really, I mean, this is your college. So yeah, an AI could actually help. They have all the facts. Could be empathetic. So there's you know, there's a lot of ways it can go. I think this guy was.
So how long until we have an actual conversational interaction that you probably couldn't, like if you were on the phone, you wouldn't be able to tell it wasn't?
I think the phone's there. Yeah. There's a lot of AI salespeople that call you that are on the phone. You might not even know. So that's there. The thing with this, well, one we're real slow in this room because the hotel has, like, I usually we ask for 120 megabits, so 6 times more than we have. But with all the real-time video, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's like in the one where the guys were at some kind of an event and they asked the agent where the reference was, which was kind of an almost off-task question, right? And she came back real quick with the right answer. Yeah, it's just a little bit slow. So that's kind of what I was. I mean, that's what I suggested last year was like, you guys need to have the bot answer your phone with somebody calls Intelligage, right?
This is the solution. This right here is gonna make it happen because now you move all that stuff. Like, yeah, and you know Matt, right? He literally did WebSockets and shit to make it faster. Like, it's insane how much stuff had to be done to overcome all the issues and latency.
Yeah.
So this is gonna solve it, right? We're gonna get a supercomputer.
The first thing that John's question earlier, like he hates dealing with IVRs because they're stupid.
They're rule based, yeah.
Yeah. And then the other guy that suggested killing an operator the first time they use the phone, right? It's like, When do we get to the point where the AI is just like a people?
So we're doing that. Right?
I think when we get a local, it'll be there.
Yeah, we're playing out a lot of
Cool.
Bryan, Tom's got a question.
Yeah.
So if you have, you position the second kiosks, what is the cost of supporting 2 or 3 agents at the same kiosk? And I'm assuming that you've already invested in hardwiring the internet to that location, so that's an issue. Incremental hardware, what is the cost of having 2 or 3 or 4 agents at that kiosk?
Well, it depends on what we want to charge, right? So there's different models. There's models like, charge half of what a person would, charge half minimum wage or something. You can do that.
No, the question is to have incremental hardware costs to support 2 or 3 different holographic agents, right?
So like this hardware, so with that computer, can you run a 3
Yeah.
So the scalability type.
You can. So our platform, you can run as many as you want, right? Because we got Google Cloud. So we have to see. I've been with this supercomputer. This thing's amazing. It's literally 4 5090 NVIDIA cards. So it probably could, but it's not out yet. It's going out in May, right? So in a couple months. But I think you can see, like, you can have one server in the back, you're thinking, that would serve holograms. Yeah, you know, a bunch of them.
One server in the back can have 3 or 4 holograms.
Yeah, I think that could be a good model for sure.
And incremental costs on holograms.
That's a great idea, actually. You have the enterprise version, right? So then they have all the big stores have a server.
Tom can actually do that. So talk to him.
Okay, nice.
We need to wrap up here, Gary.